What if the way you think, your choices, even your personality isn't actually yours anymore? What if it's been quietly shaped without you even noticing? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see yourself differently, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, glad you found us, and if you've been here before, you already know, we don't do surface level stuff on this channel. Today we're going deep, real deep, because here's a question nobody asks out loud. How much of who you are did you actually choose? Your music taste, your opinions, the things you believe are right and wrong, the way you dress, what makes you feel successful or like a failure, what you think is attractive, what you think is embarrassing. Did you decide those things, or did something or someone decide them for you, slowly, over time? Most people never think about this, and that's exactly the problem. Here's the truth. Society doesn't control you the way a tyrant controls people. It doesn't force you. It doesn't lock you up. It does something far more effective. It shapes what feels normal to you. And once something feels normal, you stop questioning it. You just live it. You become it. You didn't wake up one day and change. It happened slowly, quietly, like water cutting through rock. And today I'm going to show you the 7 signs that it's already happening to you. Not as judgment, not to scare you, but because awareness is the first step to actually being free. Let's get into it. You follow trends without thinking. And before you say, that's not me, hear me out. Think about the last thing you bought, the last style you adopted, the last thing you got into, whether it was a TV show, a food, a hobby, a phrase you started using. Ask yourself honestly. Did you discover that on your own, or did you just see it enough times that it started to feel like you? This is how trends work. Nobody forces you to wear certain clothes. Nobody tells you what music to like. But somehow, everyone starts liking the same things at the same time. Funny how that works, right? It's not random. You were sold a feeling. And when something is repeated to you enough, in ads, in feeds, in conversations, in what you see famous people doing, your brain starts to associate it with identity, with belonging, with being cool or relevant or in. And suddenly you want it. But it wasn't your want, it was planted. You think you chose it, but you just saw it enough times. Your opinions match what you constantly see online. This one's uncomfortable, I know, but stay with me. We live in the age of algorithms, and algorithms don't show you the world. They show you a version of the world designed to keep you engaged, to keep you on the app longer, to keep you clicking, scrolling, reacting. And here's what nobody tells you. Every time you click on something, the algorithm learns. Every video you watch a little longer, every post you slow down for, the algorithm notes it. And then it shows you more of that, more of those opinions, more of those perspectives, more of those beliefs. Over time, you start to feel like the things you're seeing are just facts, reality, what everybody thinks. But it's not. It's a bubble. A specifically designed, perfectly tailored echo chamber that tells you your beliefs are right and everyone who disagrees is wrong. And the scary part, it feels like your opinion. It feels like you thought of it yourself. But really, it was repeated to you over and over until you adopted it as your own. It feels like your opinion, but it was repeated to you. Do you actually believe what you believe, or do you just believe what your feed has been feeding you? That's a question worth sitting with. You're afraid to be different. Not afraid of heights, not afraid of spiders. Afraid of standing out. Afraid of what people will think if you say the wrong thing, like the wrong thing, or go against what everyone else seems to believe. And this fear is so deeply wired into us that most people don't even recognize it as fear. They just call it being normal. They just say they don't want to start drama. They say they just keep their opinions to themselves. But be honest, how often do you hold back a real thought because you're worried about judgment? How often do you agree with something you don't fully believe just to avoid conflict? How often do you dress or act or present yourself in a way that feels safe rather than true? That's not peace, that's suppression. You're not expressing yourself, you're protecting yourself. And protecting yourself from judgment is something that started as survival and became a cage. Because the moment you start hiding who you really are to be accepted, you lose yourself piece by piece. And you don't even notice it happening because each individual compromise feels so small, so reasonable. But together, they add up. to a version of you that nobody actually designed, not even you. You compare your life constantly. And I don't mean sometimes, I mean all the time, like breathing. Someone posts a vacation, and for just a second, you feel it, that little pang, that why don't I have that? Someone gets promoted, gets engaged, buys a new car, posts a perfect family moment, and suddenly your life feels slightly less. Here's the thing nobody says out loud. That feeling isn't natural. It's manufactured. Before social media, you compared yourself to maybe 30 or 40 people. Your neighborhood, your school, your family. That was the benchmark. That was normal. Now, you're comparing yourself to millions of people. People who are only showing you their highlight reel. The best angles, the best moments, with filters and lighting and captions that make ordinary moments look extraordinary. You're measuring your real life against everyone else's most curated, most filtered, most performative moments, and wondering why you feel behind. You're not unhappy, you're just comparing. Remove the comparison for a second. Strip it all away. Is your life actually bad, or does it look worse next to someone else's perfectly crafted online persona? Because comparison doesn't just make you feel bad, it changes what you want. It changes what you chase. It changes what you think you need to be happy. And most of the time, none of it was ever actually yours to want. You chase validation without realizing it. Likes, comments, reactions, approval from people you barely know, approval from people you do know, that feeling when someone agrees with you, compliments you, acknowledges you. It feels good, right? There's nothing wrong with that in its own. Humans are social. We naturally care what others think. But here's where it crosses into something deeper. When your mood starts depending on other people's responses. When you post something and spend the next hour checking how it's doing. When you don't hear back from someone and your brain starts spiraling. When you do something great, but it doesn't feel real until someone else validates it. That's the sign. That's when it's shifted from healthy human connection into something society engineered. A loop. A dopamine loop, where you keep doing things, saying things, posting things, not because they matter to you, but because they get you reactions. Your value starts depending on strangers, and when your self-worth is tied to external approval, you stop making decisions for yourself. You start performing, you start curating, you start living for the reaction rather than for the reality. That's not freedom. That's a very sophisticated, very invisible trap. You hide your real personality. You're one version of yourself with your parents, a slightly different version with your friends, another version at work, another online, another version around people you want to impress. And look, social awareness is normal. Adjusting your communication style is healthy. That's just being a functioning human. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the moments when you actively suppress something real, when you don't share your actual opinion, when you laugh at something you don't find funny, when you stay quiet instead of saying what you actually think, when you pretend to be interested in things you don't care about. Because somewhere along the way, you learn that being yourself fully, without editing, without adjusting, is risky, that people might not like that version of you, so you hide it. And you do it so consistently, so automatically, that you start to lose track of where the performance ends and the real you begins. You became acceptable, not authentic. And here's the most heartbreaking part. The real you, unfiltered, unedited, truly you, that's the version people would actually connect with deepest. That's the version that builds real relationships, real trust, real belonging. But most people never let that version out because it feels too dangerous. And this last one hits the hardest. You feel lost, but you can't explain why. Not depressed necessarily, not in crisis, just adrift. Like something's off, like life is fine on paper, but somehow doesn't feel fully yours. Like you're going through the motions that other people set in motion for you. And you can't point to the reason. There's no big event, no obvious cause, just this background static of not quite knowing who you are, of feeling like you're chasing something but not being sure what, of performing a life that looks right from the outside but feels hollow from the inside. You might call it a quarter-life crisis or burnout or just feeling stuck, but a lot of the time it's simpler and deeper than any of those labels. It's that the life you're living was built for someone else's approval. The choices were shaped by trends, by algorithms, by fear of judgment, by comparison. And at some point, the authentic you, the one with real desires, real boundaries, real values, got so buried under all of that that you don't even know what you actually want anymore. Because what you became wasn't truly you. And that's what makes you feel lost. Not because something is broken, but because you've been quietly shaped into a version of yourself you never fully agreed to be. So, here's what all of this comes down to. Society doesn't control you directly. It slowly shapes what feels normal to you. It shapes what you desire, what you fear, what you believe, who you think you're supposed to be. And one day, you wake up and you don't fully recognize yourself. You're wearing opinions that don't fit, chasing goals that don't excite you, living a version of your life that was quietly constructed for you piece by forces you never stopped to question. You didn't change naturally. You were shaped slowly. That's the uncomfortable truth. And the fact that you're still watching right now tells me you felt it. Somewhere in this video, something rang true.